Hi.
Hi.
So today we're going to be talking about first impressions.
Yeah.
It's pretty important because when you get ready to go on to an interview in
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
you've gotten through the resume, you've gotten
Yeah.
through the application, you're all ready to go. Now you're going to show up and they're going to form a first impression. And so one of the things that we like to say is, why is a first impression important? You don't get a second chance,
Yeah.
right? So, we're talking today about our first impression, and they're found in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And this is how, not how your friends see you or how your family sees you, this is how the adult world see you
Yeah.
when you go looking to be employed.
Yeah.
So, thirty seconds, that sounds pretty not very fair, right?
It's pretty challenging.
Yeah, well, and nobody likes to be judged,
Yeah.
especially in 30 seconds. I mean, you haven't even had a conversation yet. You haven't said anything yet,
Yeah.
and they're already forming an opinion about you. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about why it's so important to put ourselves together
Yeah.
when we go into this interview. And so one of the things we are going to start at
Mm-hmm.
is the physical part of what others see and how they will judge us as we enter the adult world.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we do in this lesson is we have some pictures, and so we're going to look at those pictures together, and we're going to ask you some questions. So
Mm-hmm.
this activity is to help you understand, anyone to understand that 30 seconds can happen so
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
And when you look at this picture, if I were to ask you, if you were the employer
Mm-hmm.
and you were going to hire one of these four girls,
Yeah.
which one would you hire and why would you hire her?
I'd say B just because, she looks prepared and compared to, A and B. A looks nice, but I feel like she's more so for like social media or like modeling, something like that. And B, she looks business casual. She has a smile on her face and it looks like she has her resume like on her hands and she looks ready, for a job. She's
Okay,
ready for an interview.
good, good. Um, so you said A looked like she was maybe better for social media.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I feel like she has her sunglasses, her nails are painted, she has her hair to the front. She looks ready to take a picture and just look good.
Look cute.
Yeah.
Well, and she is cute.
Yeah.
But the difference between your judging her is from B is that B looks more professional ready,
Yeah.
more serious, would you say? And A looks more casual,
Mhm.
not as serious.
Yeah.
Even though she could possibly be very serious,
Yeah.
but just because, well, let's look at their hair. One has
Mhm.
her hair in front of her face, like you said, and the other
Yeah.
one has her hair behind. Why do you think that would be important to an employer or someone, an interview, to see the hair in front of your face versus behind your shoulders?
Well, I think because when you're in an interview and the employer's seeing you, they want to see your face and they want to see you clearly. And also when you're on the job, you're not going to be having your hair to the front or like just um, a low do type of hair. And with B, she has her hair behind her ears. And I think that's what they look forward to seeing more because, it's a job.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
I hear you. I think it's really interesting because, especially with young people,
Yeah.
and depending on the job that
Yeah.
they're going to interview for,
Yeah.
we're going to, since all leaders must serve, it's really about mostly getting you ready for an entry level position.
Mhm.
So that's not just a temporary position, that's not a fast food position.
Yeah.
That is a position where someone's going to take you serious,
Yeah.
that they want you, they want to see the eye contact and
Mhm.
they want to see you serious. And like you mentioned, she looks like she has a resume or something in her hands.
Yeah.
She looks ready to go.
Yeah.
Um, of course, these are just photo shots,
Mhm.
and but we can still get a sense of personality or
Yeah.
thoughts about who they are. So let me just ask you a few more questions. Um, When you look at these ladies, and there's four of them, who looks like they have integrity? Someone that you could trust. They're going to be honest, sincere. Which one of those ladies fit that for you?
I think one who'd fit that would probably be A, just because I feel like she like brings my attention more, like she's calling my name. When I see her, I'd go to her for sure. And I'd
Okay.
only say that because I feel like we look like we have the same sense of style.
Okay.
Yeah, and I really like her hair.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you like her hair.
Yeah.
Um, and you feel like because you relate to her
Yeah.
that you could trust her more.
Yeah.
She would have more integrity with
Yeah.
you. Okay, so that's saying something. That's saying that sometimes people hire within their tribe, right?
Yeah.
But not often the person doing an interview is going to look for somebody on a personal level of
Yeah.
their tribe, especially if you're going into an interview with three people,
Yeah.
right? You know.
Yeah.
So, but that is interesting what you've
Mhm.
said, and I don't want to discount that.
Yeah.
How about who looks hardworking, on time? They're going to be on time, on task. They're going to be reliable and responsible.
Oh, well, for sure B.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And anyone else?
Mm, maybe A?
Maybe A?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're sticking with A. I've noticed you haven't said anything about C yet or D.
No, I haven't.
Okay, you don't relate to C.
It's not that I don't, but she looks like she has a personality. She has her camera out. She looks ready to take some good pictures. And, she has some bracelets on. She looks
Okay.
really
So when you say
charismatic.
she looks like she has a personality, what do you mean?
Well, a person with hobbies is always going to be about their hobbies,
Okay.
especially if they're passionate about it. I feel like that just makes them resonate
Okay.
with their dreams.
But you still relate to A.
Yeah.
Okay. Who looks like they might be a slacker? Someone who's going to be late or take a lot of time off.
D.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Well, the hair is really messy. I feel like that's really unprofessional.
mhm,
And I feel like compared to B, I feel like that's what employers look for most of the time, when people have their hair back, dressed really well,
so
professional.
paying attention
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
those details,
Yeah.
right? Who looks respectful of others? They would be a good team player. They would be giver. They would be kind.
B.
B.
Yeah.
Okay. Is she the only one?
I think so, yeah, because she
Okay.
has a really nice smile on her
Okay.
face.
You don't think A would be would fit in that category?
Yeah, I'd say so
She
too,
might.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And C,
Yeah. I think all of them could.
all of them could.
Yeah.
Okay. Who looks untrustworthy, like they might be a gossip or a user?
I'd say probably D.
D.
Yeah.
Okay. And who looks like someone who's going somewhere with their life?
B.
B.
Yeah.
Okay. So this has been really interesting
Yeah.
to me
Yeah.
because in interviewing you about this,
Mhm.
you are very, very relatable to A.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when we get very related, we relate to something, it's
Yeah.
hard for us to see outside that box.
Yeah.
So just so you know, A is often I get a lot of negative comments about A,
Yeah.
and you could probably tell me why
Yeah.
because you've probably heard them, right?
Yeah.
But C, I often get a lot of positive comments.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you, C, one of the reasons why you're going to get positive comments, even though she looks like she's in her hobby, is because employers look for people who have hobbies, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's right on the application. What
Yeah.
other things do you do? So, some people, especially today, if they're all into themselves,
Mhm.
and they look too cute or they're too focused on how cute they are or those kinds of things, an employer might read that wrong.
Yeah.
As opposed to someone who maybe is, not as put together
Mhm.
as A is, but she has a headband on her hair to keep it out of her eyes. She's plain, but she's professional, casual.
Yeah.
You know, they would be interested. That might draw somebody that wouldn't be drawn
Yeah.
to A. So B is easy.
Mhm.
But when we're looking at our wardrobe and we're considering how we're going to put ourselves together for an interview, these are all the things we need to think about. Who are we going to be and what do we want them to see? Because they will form an opinion about us in
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
And you have been amazing because normally I get real words about from females
Yeah.
about these females
Yeah.
about what they see
Yeah.
and who these females remind them of,
Yeah.
right? So especially in high school, right?
Yeah.
You look at somebody and oh man, it's either off or it's on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So where the adult world isn't quite as cruel in
Mhm.
that way, they are looking for something more. And they are looking for your attention. They're listening for your communication skills.
Mhm.
They're looking to see, like we said, those things, hobbies, extracurricular activities,
Mhm.
maybe other responsibilities that you have. You have a pet, you watch your siblings or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I think you've done an awesome job. It's been really interesting having this conversation with you.
No, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Uh huh.
Yeah.